Welcome to the depths of the inexplicable. Today, we dive into a mystery that defies logic and physics, the phenomenon known as the void of eternity. Imagine an imposing Victorian mansion whose walls hold more than just dust and memories. For centuries, reports of people who simply vanished into thin air within these corridors have haunted investigators. There are no tracks, no signs of struggle, only the absolute silence left behind. What happens when the fabric of reality tears? This video explores the documented disappearances that turned this residence into a paranormal epicenter. Prepare yourself, for what we are about to reveal may change your perception of what is possible. Are we facing a glitch in the matrix or something much older and hungrier? The void of eternity is not just a place, it is an enigma that consumes anyone who tries to decipher it. The story begins in 1892 with the disappearance of the Sterling family. One night, the mansion's lights glowed brightly during a gala dinner. Outside witnesses claimed to have seen figures through the windows, but by the next morning, the house was empty. Plates of still steaming food sat on the table, and candles still burned low, but all 12 guests and the servants had vanished. No doors were open from the inside, and all windows were locked. It was the first official record of what locals would call the sip of eternity. Investigators of the time were perplexed, finding only clocks that stopped at the exact same second. Where did these souls go? Did they walk into a parallel dimension without realizing it, or did the house itself claim them as part of its eternal structure? As we explore the mansion's architectural details, we notice anomalies that defy Euclidean geometry. Corridors that seem to stretch infinitely under the dim light of flickering chandeliers. Staircases leading to solid walls and doors that, when opened, reveal only an absolute, dark void. Architects who attempted to map the property reported that measurements change every time they are taken. It is as if the house were a living organism, breathing and expanding. Some theorists suggest the void of eternity is a convergence point for telluric energy lines, creating a spatial vacuum where matter is unstable. Every decaying detail, from the peeling wallpaper to the plaster moldings carved with agonizing faces, seems to whisper the names of those lost in the labyrinth of wood and stone. One of the most disturbing aspects reported by survivors, those who entered and managed to leave in time, are the light anomalies. They describe a phenomenon called the flicker. For a brief moment, the mansion's lights flicker in a way that alters visual perception. Colors vanish, leaving the environment in a sepia or deep gray tone, and shadows that belong to no object begin to move independently across the walls. Modern investigators equipped with high-speed cameras captured frames where the background of the image simply disappears, revealing an infinite darkness behind the furniture. It is not a technical glitch, it is a manifestation of the void. It is in that microsecond of total darkness that the disappearance occurs. You are there one moment, and the next, you become part of the statistics of the unseen. Descending to the mansion's basement, the temperature drops drastically. Here, the air is thick, heavy with the smell of ozone and damp earth. In the center of the basement, there is an area where no sound echoes. It is the core of the void of eternity. Physicists suggest this location might be a natural wormhole or a rift in space-time. In 1954, a group of scientists tried to measure radiation in this room. Their devices recorded impossible spikes before melting completely. The team leader, Dr. Eris Thorne, was seen entering the silence zone to retrieve a sensor. Before his colleagues' eyes, his image began to turn translucent, like an old photograph fading in the sun, until he vanished entirely. His last words, captured by a reel-to-reel recorder, were, "It is not a void, it is full of them." What did Dr. Thorne mean by full of them? Electronic voice phenomena, known as EVPs, recorded in the mansion, offer a chilling clue. Instead of short, disjointed phrases, researchers hear choruses of voices whispering in unison, repeating dates and names from centuries past. Some believe that people who disappear into the void of eternity do not die but become trapped in a state of suspended existence, occupying the same physical space as us but at a different frequency. They are in the cracks of the walls, in the reflections of the murky Victorian mirrors, watching the living with silent envy. The mansion's mirrors, in particular, are avoided by everyone. They say that if you look long enough, you will see a version of yourself that has already begun to disappear, with the empty eyes of someone who has already crossed the border. Modern science attempts to explain the void through string theory and parallel universes. If our universe is just a membrane in a larger multiverse, could there be points where these membranes touch or overlap? The mansion of the void of eternity would then be a geological defect in the structure of reality. Quantum anomaly researchers have noted that time flows differently inside the property. A wristwatch might tick for 10 minutes, while for the rest of the world, hours have passed. This time dilation is a classic sign of gravitational distortion. But if it is just a physical phenomenon, why does it seem so intentional? Why does the house attract certain people and ignore others? Is there an intelligence behind the void, selecting pieces for its eternal collection, or are we just insects falling into an invisible web of dimensions? Reports of shadow people are frequent around the void. Two-dimensional silhouettes that appear darker than the night itself, gliding across the corners of the ceiling and vanishing through closed doors. Unlike traditional ghosts, these entities do not seem to have recognizable human features. They are walking vacuums. Witnesses claim that simple eye contact with these shadows causes a sensation of absolute cold and momentary memory loss. Investigators suggest these figures are the caretakers of the void, entities that ensure nothing escapes once the border is crossed. In 1988, a cameraman disappeared while filming one of these shadows in a hallway. The camera fell to the floor, and the recording shows only a dark hand reaching out from the wall and pulling the man into the solid brick. The final piece of this puzzle is the clock that never stops. In the mansion's attic, there is an immense grandfather clock that, despite its gears being completely rusted and broken, continues to tick rhythmically. Legend has it that each tick corresponds to a heart still beating inside the void of eternity. Local residents claim that on new moon nights, the sound of the ticking can be heard for miles, reverberating through the ground like a funeral drum. Attempts to remove or destroy the clock have failed, tools break inexplicably and those who try to touch it suffer immediate paralysis. The clock is not measuring our time, but the time of eternity, a stopwatch for the end of our reality as we know it. What will happen when the clock finally stops? The void of eternity remains one of the greatest unsolved mysteries of our age. Is it a portal, a trap, or a geological error? The hundreds of people who entered the mansion and never returned left behind families without answers and a story that refuses to be forgotten. Each year, the mansion seems to grow a little darker, a little quieter, as if it were digesting what it consumed. If you ever encounter a house that seems not to belong to its time, where the lights flicker rhythmically and the silence is too heavy, be careful. You might be standing on the edge of the void. And remember, once you enter eternity, the concept of coming home ceases to exist. The secret remains locked between the decaying walls, waiting for the next curious guest. The void of eternity still holds secrets we are not ready to discover. If you enjoyed this investigation, subscribe to the channel and like the video for more mysteries. What do you think happened to these people? Comment below.